Hey guys, Nikki here, and today I'm going to show you a quick routine that you can do to improve your mobility when squatting. Stay tuned. All right, so getting into it, you don't need any equipment for this routine, but if you have a long resistance band, kind of like this one, just medium to light density, that's great. But otherwise, no equipment, you're good. So you're going to come on hands and knees to start. And we're going to do a little variation of cat-cow. So a lot of the time, cat-cow is done with really weight over the hands, and that tends to give us a lot more extension or arching in our low back. So today, I'm going to have you sit your hips a little bit back towards your heels. And then from here, you're going to stay here, and you're just going to exhale to gently curl your pelvis under, around your spine, let your head hang down. And then just inhale to come back up. Bring your chest forward, gaze can come slightly up. And again, exhale to curl, tucking under. And then lengthening out on the inhale. And so what this does is we're just sort of warming up and moving our spine. And a lot of the time when we have stiffness in squatting, part of it is because our spine is really stiff, just from, usually it's actually sitting. We're doing a really sedentary task. And let's go one more. And then pause to the middle. Now we're going to go to a hand-knee rocking. So you're going to come back over your hands. Start with the toes untucked if you can. You're going to stick your butt a little in the air. So you're going to have a small low back curve present. You're just going to start by sitting your hips back, keeping that small low back curve come up. And then I want you to tuck your toes under and sit back and feel how that changes the range in your foot and ankle. And then flatten the feet out. And then tucking the toes under. So now what I'm starting to do is create glide in my hip joints. And this actually happens every time you squat, so you can think of it like a kneeling squat. And I'm doing this mostly parallel legs, but some other ways to improve and play with your range that you could do is you can take your knees a little bit wider. You could do the same thing. And just notice if in certain ranges, it's a little easier to move through or not so easy to move through. Great. And then coming back. All right, from here, we're going to take it onto our back. And we're just going to do a little core activation exercise before we come to standing and do a little bit more of our ankle mobility. So I want you to start just lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Take a moment to find your core. So what I mean by that is just sort of notice where your pelvis and your rib cage rest in the ground. And for me, my pelvis usually lands a little bit anterior arch, so I tend to be a little too far this way. So sometimes I have to do a small pelvic curl to really sort of find my core. And then most of us, myself included, are going to have like a big arch under our back from our rib cage. So I'm going to start by just kind of taking a nice full breath in. And exhale, just softening those ribs down. So really connecting to them. And then once you kind of have a sense of where your core is at, it should be a little connected. I want you to take your hands up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, exhale, bring one leg up. Breath in without tipping in your pelvis. Bring the second leg up. We're going to do a little bit of dead bug here. So on your next inhale, you're going to reach one leg out, opposite arm overhead. You're going to keep your ribs heavy on the floor. I almost shake when I got that one right. And then bring it in. And then you're going to switch. And I'm trying to keep my ribs down and my pelvis level. If you get any snapping or cracking in your hips, you want to make the range smaller, aim the leg higher, or notice if you've flared your ribs. It's usually that you've lost your core a little bit when that happens. Now, for being a warm-up move, this one's kind of tricky. So if you need a modification, you can go feet down. You can pick one leg, and then you can just go single leg and arm. Really still focusing on keeping the ribs down. This isn't as much challenge on the abs. And then, of course, you would switch. Same deal. Great. And then let the feet rest. Let the arms rest. All right, coming
so
to this is where if you have the band, grab it. If you don't, Don't worry about it. So we're going to do a little bit of standing twisting. So you're going to grab the band. You're going to put it kind of back at the broadest part of your rib cage, maybe a little bit below, kind of just above your bra line. You're just going to hold on to the band, one with each side. And I just want you to find a comfortable stance so that you don't have to be super narrow, but you're not super wide. And just sort of bring your ribs over your pelvis. So you're, again, a little bit in your core. And I want you to just start by doing a soft knee bend. And then as you straighten your knees, you're going to punch one arm forward and twist. And the band is just going to help you feel that twist. And so you're going to let your head come along for the ride too. And what happens is by doing this is you're creating a little bit of movement in your upper back or your thoracic spine. Which again, we get really, really stiff through here. So it's nice to be able to find and feel how that area actually can rotate and move. And if you're able to move through here, a lot of the time you'll feel less stiffness in your hips, which will improve your squat. Good. Now, if you need to see that non-banded choice, same deal, just arms up and you'll bend the knees and push. This is a really nice warm-up really for anything you're doing. Just works out well for squatting. And then rest. All right, final exercise we're going to do to prep for the squat is just a little bit of ankle dorsiflexion or improving movement through the ankle joint. So again, there's a way to do this with and without the band. If you start with your band, similar setup to the last exercise, you'll kind of bring it across your back, arms will be by your sides. This time I am going to have you take your feet in so they're just about sit bone distance, really fairly parallel today, unless that hurts your knees, and take them a little out. You're going to punch the band forward and kind of pull your elbows in. And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of allow your ribs to draw down so you find your core. It connects into the anterior chain or front chain of your body, aka your core. So you're going to just do staying fairly upright. You're going to let your hips go back. You're going to let your knees go forward, creating movement in the ankle joint and then coming up. So I'm doing a fairly upright squat, kind of like a mini squat. And my goal here is not necessarily to get to the ground as it is to just create movement in my ankles. And you'll feel it just sort of, there's a spot where you run out of room and you're not going to go any further. Good. If you need a side view, same deal. And then if you don't like the band or you don't have a band, same exercise. Also a good time to notice if one ankle is moving a little better than the other. That's it.